everybody. So good to see everyone. I'm Angelina Gadeliya, the head of piano at the University of Connecticut, and it's my great honor today to introduce our fabulous guest artist, Eteri Andjaparidze. And Professor Andjaparidze and I share the same home country of Georgia, except she's from Tbilisi, I'm from Sukhumi. I'll say a few words about her before we get started. Ms. Andjaparidze is based in New York City and is teaching on the piano faculties at the NYU Steinhardt School and the Mannes School of Music. And she has also served as head of keyboard programs at DePaul University in Chicago, the State University of New York, the Moscow and Tbilisi State Conservatories, and as visiting professor at the Xi'an and Foshan Conservatories in China. Professor Andjaparidze's discography is released on the Naxos, Marco Polo, and Melodia labels and includes Grammy and Deutsche Schallplatten nominations. Professor Andjaparidze studied at the Moscow State Tchaikovsky Conservatory with Vera Garnastaeva, a student of Heinrich Neuhaus, somebody that my students always hear me talking about. And the youngest participant in the 5th Tchaikovsky International Competition in Moscow, she received the 4th prize, being the youngest participant in that, and was also the first Soviet pianist to win the grand prize at the Montreal International Piano Competition. Her awards include the Order of People's Friendship, the Order of Honor, and the People's Artist of Georgia Awards. She has, of course, appeared around the world in solo and collaborative recitals and as a guest soloist with major orchestras around the world. So without further ado, let's see if Morgan is there, but please give a very warm virtual welcome to Professor Eteri Andjaparidze.
Thank you very much, Angelina. You should finish it with, now let's say what a lousy teacher she is.
That would be the last thing that I would say, but thank you. I appreciate your humility.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. We've been planning on my visit to UConn for quite some time. It did not happen in person, but so this kind of virtual life at the moment does have its advantages. Let's look at it this way. So we at long last are able to get together and to hear your students, to meet your colleagues and guests, and that's wonderful. And I feel really privileged and pleased to see you in this capacity and hear your students. So we have first student, I think, playing Opus 111, right? First movement. Morgan, are you there? Have you?
Yes. Sorry, I'm just readjusting so that the view is good with the computer.
Yeah.
The sound, I think, is already better.
Okay, great.
Yeah, may we take a minute, just to our dear audience, to double check our sound, because we did have problems before. So, Morgan, again, did you find your audio checking? I mean, audio settings? Go into your audio settings.
Okay.
Because, see, I've been instructed very thoroughly on this, so I've been through many versions of this, so far it seems the best. So, audio setting, are you in?
1 second, let me try and find it.
So it's in your
low,
audio, yeah. So, test speaker, put speaker on maximum, so we hear each other really well. By the way, sometimes when you get carried away and play, and I need to stop you, sometimes you might not hear me. So I have 2 ways which I practice with my students. One thing would be the cluster, or this whistle here, which I have from DePaul. One of my students gave it to me when I had a class, because I used to whistle when they misbehaved. So expect this kind of sounds, just in case. Now, okay, so this is speaker. Now test microphone. So microphone doesn't have to be all the way up, just a couple of bars left, right? And automatically adjust microphone volume should be unchecked. Do you have it unchecked?
Now I do.
Now you do. Then suppress background noise should be low.
Okay.
And then music and professional audio, everything should be checked. Show in meeting original sound on, high fidelity, echo cancellation, stereo audio.
Okay.
And then advanced, click on advanced, and echo cancellation should be auto.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So we are all set. Sorry for these technicalities, but you know, so we've been instructed so many times, and also it's important to update the versions of Zoom because they are sort of trying to make it more music sound friendly. So now, do you see me all right? So when you see my keyboard and everything?
I do.
And my sound.
Yes.
Okay?
Yep. Great.
And then sorry, I'm trying to get a good view of my keyboard. Is this
Okay.
all right? Or do you
No,
need
lower it down a little bit.
Yeah,
Lower it
lower a little.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That is better. We have your face cut a little, but so we have a better view of your hand. Maybe you move it back, slightly back. Yeah, okay. Sit down.
Is that better?
No, it's the same. Move it closer. Move it closer.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
All right, good. Yeah, like it. So we did have a wonderful book, My Mind Read, Beheaded Writer. So we might as well have beheaded pianist. Okay. So shall we start? Are you ready?
Yes.
Everybody ready to join in? Okay, I'm muting myself. Thank you, bravo. Thank you very much. Now, I just realized that before we proceed, let me close my window, because when I had myself muted, you didn't hear sounds of New York City. So let me just, to make it just less, okay? I'll be right with you. So, here I am. Tell me something, please. First and foremost, I must tell you whatever I will be sharing with you today about this piece will be also very personal, in addition to what I try to take objectively. I have lived life with this piece. This was my diploma program at the Moscow Conservatory. I studied it with my teacher. And ever since, it has become my repertoire piece. And there are two pieces, two compositions in my entire piano repertoire, which I cannot teach if I have them in upcoming programs. Let's say if I had to teach, to play it in a month or within a month or a couple of months even, from today, and I heard from Angelina that we had 111, I would have asked her, couldn't we have something else? So, and she would thought, oh, well, she doesn't know it or anybody would. But I tell you, these two pieces are Opus 111 and Fourth Ballade of Chopin. There is something probably for me about this being last sonata and Fourth Ballade being last ballade of Chopin, where they sort of summarize, although they say that there were few drafts and sketches of following sonata of Beethoven, but it did not happen. So this is the last one. That ballad is last one. That ballad also I learned when I was a student, young student, and so there is something of those two, these two compositions that I don't want to share with anybody when in the moment of my playing them. So it's just mine. So in this case, now I played, the last time I played it was in December when I was doing a huge Beethoven festival at NYU, so which I put together, and I played it then. So it's in the past this season, so I'm not going to play now. And it's another wonderful opportunity to reconnect with it. Although I don't think that I ever have disconnected with it, ever since I learned it. This has some very special quality. How long have you been playing this piece?
Oh, I started learning it last spring, but then I stopped for the fall for a different program. And so I've really been focusing on this probably since December.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay, so this is a piece of a lifetime, like Busoni said, human life is not long enough to learn Beethoven's Hammerklavier. So same is applicable to this opus as well. Now, which edition are you using?
The Henley.
Henley. Have you checked any other editions?
No, I haven't used other editions.
Mm-hmm. People, and you are in doctoral program, right? So this wouldn't be your topic because there are libraries on Beethoven, so obviously. But people have written dissertations and dedicated their lives to editions, studying editions of Beethoven, following and finding a new dot or new comma, new rest, or so that other people have not discovered or noticed. And for us, checking editions is not only educational, but also another way to find what he wanted to tell us, because those who have studied them, they researched really very strongly and they know what they're doing in their editions. Now, have you checked his manuscript? It is available on international IMSLP.
No, I haven't.
Oh, go and see it. So you will get a kick out of it. It's something absolutely unbelievable that when you see his manuscripts, and also seeing his manuscripts is quite an experience. We were lucky here in New York City at the Morgan Library. They had exhibition from spring through fall of his manuscripts, which many are actually at Morgan Library, and so it was quite an experience. I took my students there, and they were just, it gives you some energy, not only inspiration, energy boost. It charges you when you see something. Even I think those who do not play the piano receive this special vibes and vibration that comes through, even through the window in the museum. You get it. So I was raised, and back in the Soviet Union when I studied, we had wonderful edition of Alexander Goldenweiser, who was also one of the best and one of the three main pillars of Russian piano schools, one of them being Henry Neuhaus, Konstantin Igumnov, and Alexander Goldenweiser, who produced great pianists. And Alexander Goldenweiser was friends and colleague with Rachmaninoff, and happy birthday to Rachmaninoff, so etc. But we'll continue that topic later on. Now, and he was very meticulous and very pedantic, at the same time quite direct in his instructions, also as a teacher and as an editor. So he would put with comments, but everything, but in such a tone that so you could hear his opinion, how he would play it, and how he would make you play. We did not have Henley. We just did not even know what Henley was when we were studying there, for better or worse, I don't know. But the next thing and the huge discovery that was for us and gift was Schnabel's edition, which was, and I'm going to show it to you, 2 volumes of, this is the Russian edition, Soviet edition of Schnabel. So this is, and as you know, Schnabel was the first person to have recorded whole sonatas, complete sonatas, and that was like our, Bible at that point. His recordings, some of us who could obtain them, and I luckily was the first thing I bought in Montreal after winning the competition was complete Schnabel of the. So these LPs and this was like, in addition to everything, our main source to get closer to Beethoven. Although Schnabel's own playing and texts are very different, but never mind. So he obviously was an authority on Beethoven, and also he was a phenomenal pianist and, more importantly, teacher. So what you can find in his editions, and to me, I still, use Schnabel as my main source, and then I compare Henley and Towie is great edition, and Barenreiter, of course, all of those. But maybe it's just my upbringing that I stick to Schnabel as a main source, and especially the sonatas that I have played for. So visually also I get back to them, and so this is again my environment. But what I love about Schnabel, he always gives you autograph versions, always, with comments, with quite extensive comments, as you can see here. See, but Schnabel has been published here as well, so it's. And there are in 3 languages. For example, we had German, English, and Russian there. And extensive comments of what he would suggest as a teacher. So it was not like Goldenweiser, Beethoven wrote this, I think this way, and do this. It was, okay, Beethoven wrote it this way, I would read it and offer you with certain fingerings. He used very artistic and very meaningful and expressive fingering. He would always mention fingering of Beethoven. He would always mention pedaling of Beethoven. And that is the most precious thing that we can receive from any editor. There are not as many comments in Henley unless you really go into the back, or they have. Eteri has a separate book on his comments, with his comments. But Schnabel has it all in one page. So as I showed you, sometimes this page might look overwhelming, and I know that students do not like to read comments. And therefore, so when you see not so many notes and maybe sometimes even more comments on the page, you say, what is he talking about? I know better, I know, maybe not know, but I feel better. So does it really matter what we feel? What matters more to you? How you feel or what Beethoven wrote? Tell me.
I think both are important, but probably how I feel ultimately.
Ultimately.
Yes.
So what came first, your feeling or this sonata?
The sonata.
Okay, who wrote it?
Beethoven.
That says it all.
Okay.
You would not be feeling anything if this were not written when it was. See? So, therefore, it's our reaction. We are in the best case, and again, I'm sharing with you my credo of, how I was raised and what I feel interpreter is. What is an interpreter in language is a translator, right? So we translate notes to the audience. The better the translator of foreign literature, the less we feel the presence of the translation. So the less we feel that it was written in a different language. So when we feel it as a first source and understand, let's say, Goethe, as if it was written in English or in Russian or, for us, like native tongue. So the better the translator and the better the role and mission of the interpreter in literature is. Only once in my life I have had that feeling in performance, when performer was not present. And believe it or not, that was the entire Berlin Philharmonic with Abbado conducting in Chicago Symphony Hall, symphonies, Beethoven symphonies 6 and 7. So they created the atmosphere when all of a sudden I was sitting there in the hall and feeling that there was no more source of sound production, but it was just direct energy coming from Beethoven and spreading upon me. So entire orchestra of, let's say, 100 people, with genius Abbado, they were dissolved. And they gave me authentic feeling of Beethoven. This was quite an incredible, never before or after I have received, having heard many great performances, including pianists such as Richter and Gilels and Neuhaus live, whenever. So, and of course we do have our personality, we do have our, again, as I told you, I wouldn't be working with you on this now if I were playing it, because it's about my feeling, my relationship with this piece, indeed. But so the source is first composer, sonata. Then once composer writes this. So this sonata, this Opus 111, has its own even separate life from Beethoven. You say Opus 111, you do not need to even say Beethoven. You say Fourth Ballade, you don't even need to say Chopin, because composers give birth and they live their own life. And we are privileged to not only look at them at the museum, at the paintings or sculpture, but we are privileged to touch them. So we must do it with respect and care. And so therefore, all this lecture about editions and how we need to approach text, I think this is very important, especially when dealing with such colossal, epochal masterpieces as this. And I would urge you, I'm sure you would have Schnabel edition.
Did I go in Schnabel?
Well, just to check at the library.
Oh, yes.
I'm not telling you to go with anything, because you already have learned, and Henley is good. You have already have learned, and visual part also is a great component of our learning. So I would not switch to anything. But as a reference, I would advise that you check Schnabel, check the autograph. By the way, in autograph, when you see the last one, you are playing, the autograph has. So, and Schnabel talks about it. Schnabel says that when you look at the autograph, in the autograph, the 4 last semiquavers in both hands are absolutely distinctly A flat B, G, B. But it obviously should be A flat. He doesn't say why. But in autograph, go to IMSLP and you and that's where he goes. So having seen that with my sort of one of my facets, such as being stubborn, I continue. I stick with Beethoven's. So so it's different. So whether it was his hand slipped, but it did not, because it's an octave. It's not that, let's say, something happened and he did not spell it as he wanted A flat. So both are G's there. That's one thing. And another thing, now it's not in connection with any edition, but just with the music. In introduction, if I may. It's A natural. Twice. And it is such a monstrous sounding. Can you imagine? At that time, this. He had it all, you know. So Beethoven is a composer who also, I mean, Bach was like, you know, messenger and giving us what he was receiving. Beethoven was a doer. Beethoven was a creator, or the creator maybe. So he created all elements that later on were split by many composers and went on. So he's like a trunk. And the harmonies, rhythm, you name it, all variety of forms. You're just thinking of combining and, you know, together the forms of sonata, fantasy, variations, polyphony, fugue, creating everything, going to opus 111 and 101, which would be the most perfect combination of all his efforts, and then right after that, crashing everything in Hammerklavier, huge dragon. After which he would need 3 more sonatas to balance things out. And then you look at them, and who was the composer after him who sort of was working in sonata form in the same direction, combining sonata and fantasy and all sorts of, and changing, molding, remolding the sonata form? Who would you think of?
Schumann?
Not quite, because he was trying to. Schumann has his own form in anything he did, you know. Yeah, but Scriabin brought together sonata and fantasy, and then later starting from the 5th sonata, just in the most concise form, made them all together. So innovators in this form would be, to me at least, Beethoven and Scriabin. Now, this is introduction to the overture right here, this in the first movement. And to me, overture, this first movement here is a complete sonata already. Complete sonata with all its drama, conflict, and everything. This one, Arietta. Arietta is summing up everything, all 32. So Arietta is not only finale, I mean last movement of the last sonata, but it's last movement, period. Nothing can happen after Arietta. Like I could never, if I had this in the last thing on my program, or same 4th ballad, I could never play an encore after that, because this is it. You live life through this sonata, right? So, and this is overture, Beethoven's overture. And it's the most devastating beginning, you know, and rage, but not of a warrior like with arms in his hand, but of an artist who was deprived of, you know, physical ability to hear his music. Can you imagine, most of his life he did not hear his sounds being realized in performance. So all the vibrations, so he was living on the paper, but they would stay within him. They were never, the sound was never released out of it. It all stayed within. So it was all piling up. So, and these are, right? So this kind of, and he's starting with diminished chord practically, right? So, which already tells us about how unsettled, how uncomfortable, what it was for him. And so if you feel this, if you tune yourself into this kind of state of your mind and being and feeling, since they matter, right? And they of course do. But we need to attune our feelings to his, not the other way around. By attuning our feelings and thoughts and whatever ideas to the composers, we are upgrading ourselves. Because always any composition, even played by whoever the genius, is always higher than its interpretation, even the greatest one. It's always higher because we always attempt to guess what composer played, had in mind. So, and every single performance of ours is another attempt. It's never set, never carved in stone, unless we record it, and then I want to break every single recording that I have ever made in my life. So, but see, and therefore any attempt give us this another chance to climb it. And your feeling, try to attune yourself to this, because, well, they can come down to us. They can, but nothing, but it will not matter. So we could be sort of, tailoring them to our abilities and feelings, but it will not really help us become better. So, therefore, let's try to get closer to him and also listen to this harmony. And then, and he does not really settle for any tonic except here. Again, going into the next one. So how does the phrase shape for you here? It's not just obviously, it's not just a bunch of octaves and chords. And so play for me the unit, how you hear it, how you think of it, where it starts, where it ends. Ta-dam, from there.
Okay.
Play. Okay, the unit, where was it? Where does this phrase end? Okay, so it ends there, therefore it's it's open-ended going into the next one. And I want to hear it from you. So you understand it. So why don't you do the same? Because by instinct, you are playing. And you are playing this as a resolution, and then separately this.
Okay.
So this is continuation of this phrase. Okay? And open the and it hangs with its wings over it, and then it goes higher, and then the last one is the strongest. So therefore your first forte, you have forte, 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 and they are never the same. It depends on the sharpness of the harmony. So the last one is the sharpest, and it does not resolve into anything, and then it keeps going. It is so strong that it takes a lot of harmonies to get it. So, and continue this line. So that will bring together this overture, because in one sphere. Right now it's in chunks. Try to think of it as a whole more. So because they are links, and it's in chain, but it's one chain. Try again. is on the rise there, right? So and this is something like, you know, what's coming upon us. What is it? Do you have pedaling in Henley there?
Yes.
Okay, what is the pedaling?
There is one lift in second full measure on the fourth beat. There's a pedal change there, and then.
And for example, there is only one Beethoven's pedal, which is this. Okay, this is Beethoven.
Right.
The rest is not Beethoven. And by the way, this, as we read, we should read any instrumental piece of Beethoven's as orchestral score, right? So, and obviously this is, you know, a symphonic score, because his sonatas could be transformed into quartets, or you name it, or symphonies, depending on texture and whatever the core of it is. Now, what is here? What instruments are playing here?
Horns, I think.
Okay. Just horns?
No.
The horns would be the horns would be here.
Okay.
Huh? Just think about it. As we are not orchestrating it. We are trying to get the right timbre.
Right. Low strings, maybe. Then like cellos, double basses.
Exactly. Low strings. Low string, big double bass, and very clumsy thing. Do those instruments have pedal?
No.
So therefore, it's incorrect. It's like, and you need to see this line. It's not just straight line. It's a resistance. It goes and then here is double bass, of course, going all the way over, and then and tutti. Same. So again, starts with double bass. Therefore, I mean, it's not a dirty pedal, but it is pedal, you know, which in symphonic reading of this piece, I wouldn't. It's maybe, I'm not telling you to play it without pedal at all, but on each. And then on the high harmony, because he gives us this eruption of this chord, and needs to stay. And then release of a pedal is right on the rest before this. See?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you have it like that? Try. It's very important how you start any piece, but especially this one. Excellent. Thank you very much. So you are catching very well. Now, when you arrive here, yes, there are just local stops on the longer notes, but phrase does not stop because harmony sort of what is it? Melts one into each other. So And then there is the next one. Although there is diminuendo, but there is always the gravity towards the next one. And now bring in different timbre. Stay in piano and crescendo. So try to just how this melt, like Salvador Dali's melting clock, just that's how this harmony sort of. Try from this. Keep the rhythm. Don't play slower. After so let's say this is the tempo, right? Because then if you lose this pulse, then it will become relaxed, and it's anything but relaxed here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Finish and a new. It's a new thing, so. And here is a hidden intonation. So it's in the different voices, but it's and give me good the most creepy and scary color. And now exactly so this 30 seconds becomes 16, and that's how this accelerando happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's rhythmical accelerando, and Scriabin, as a great teacher, gives us warning: non crescendo and non accelerando. So don't do it because it happens anyway.
Okay.
Okay? Try from here and move from here how these harmonies, these seconds rub at each other, and just don't let go and get resolved. And that's what it's very difficult, the hardest thing. is 32nd, not 64th. Ti-la-da. It's not ta-da. It's don't shorten it. Okay, but we'll move on. Let's go here. And then 16 note. Okay? Okay, very good. Now, tell me the fingering. On this.
4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Huh?
The fingering I'm using.
Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, right.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
That's what any properly raised pianist would do. 1, 2, 3, 4 on this tetrachord. What else can you do? But then if you do this, then you do not have this sort of energetic and affirmative boom. You bump into the stone wall here. Ta-dam! And there is no way. It's dead end. Ta-dam! So I want to hear dead end. You will not hear it with the fourth finger. Whose fingersatz is in Henley? It's on the first page. You can see. Do you have a volume or do you have a copy?
I have a volume, but I'm missing the first page. This volume got split on the binding.
Yeah, whose fingering is it? Don't you remember? Henley's.
I don't remember. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. But now here is suggestion from Schnabel. 1. So and then. Okay, that's Schnabel. 1, 1. Now I'll tell you a funny story. When I was studying this, and so at the same time, the 1 year younger than I, Ivo Pogorelic, was studying in the same studio with my teacher. So we were very close friends then. And then he would, most of his repertoire, while we were studying, studying at the conservatory, he was sort of learning a year later than I. The same thing was with, let's say, B-flat minor sonata, then this one also. Just, it was not that he was catching up, but he obviously we all need to catch up on the global things, such as B-flat minor Chopin or that. Yeah. And we were experimenting with the fingering, but before I get to fingering, I'll tell you. So once Ivo comes to me, to my home, and I'm packing to leave in the morning for some concert tour. And, well, we didn't have that luxury of copying machine like you have now, but even when I have it now, I hate them. I don't like, they don't have personality, those, pages. Now, so I had this volume and I was going to play this. So I had this, I was playing this, and then something else, maybe of Schumann, also another volume. For example, I have another volume of Schumann here. Let's say I was carrying with myself this, and maybe Prokofiev complete sonata, something, can you imagine? And this would be in my suitcase. This would be in my suitcase, and Ivo comes, and what are you doing? He said, are you carrying all of that? He said, are you crazy? I said, well, but what can I do? He said, what? And he tears off this 111 from this book. Can you imagine? So what I took this book and hit him in the head. I said, how dare you do this? He said, cool it. Cool it? He said, I'm not tearing his manuscript. Next day he comes, he brings me new copy of the second volume. Just, okay, you have it full now. So go, not next day, but when I returned from that concert tour. So, and ever since I'm chosen. So this is inherited from that time. And so this was absolutely, what are you doing? Just, you're nuts. And then also around the same time, we were experimenting with fingering, and we have come up with quite a remarkable thing. 1, 2, 3, 3. So there is certain da-da-da-dum, and it gives you this clarity. And that's in the right hand only. Da-da-dum. So see? There is not a single piano in the world that would not react to this correctly. Okay? And I've played bad pianos, believe me. Okay? Oh, well, what's going on? Somebody else came in on my main screen as a speaker. I would rather have Morgan. Kilani Moore is on my main. I don't know why.
I think as soon as Morgan, can you speak?
Yeah, speak. Say something. Say something.
Hello.
Morgan, say something.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi. Hello.
Okay. Yeah. So play something. See. So So try that. I'm not insisting, but it's a suggestion that has worked.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
And then. So while playing this, I would suggest that you listen to the lower voice in your octave, because it will give you darker color. It will give it color of, death, eternity, darkness, black hole, whatever you want to call it. And then how he spins out of it. And acoustically, what is interesting, and even in this, try with emphasis on the lower voice. On the lower voice, when you reach middle section, both, and as you go up, emphasis on the right. This will give you a better range of dynamics from lowest to the highest. Listen, I don't know how it transmits this way, but acoustically it does work well. For example, as you go up, you sort of tilt, this, it's like a seesaw. You start from the lower voice and then on the balance and then toward the right hand. And then try. Okay, now give me this C, because I don't hear it. Again, what is finger here? Huh?
At the end of that measure. 3, 2, 5, 1.
And then 1. Yeah, so you take it in the left hand, right? So, therefore, I would like to, yes, it is end of this, but at the same time, it's beginning.
Right.
So, the fact of the piano here doesn't mean that we may lose this. It's a dum, dum, do it. Where is this phrase going? So more sensitivity to change of these harmonies, okay? Because you arrived here, you made it very well, but and then this was just, it sounded like, you know, melodization of harmony, you know, of melody in like harmonic task. And it's written for voiced, right?
Right.
Okay. No, from here. They're just coming closer, right? So first they were going in one direction, and then he's constantly working with the range. Just lowest to the highest. It's like, you know, Rubens has that wonderful painting, which is called Union of Earth and water, and earth and skies, and, you know, the series of that. So this is union of earth and sky. So he's constantly and going. If we go broader, it will be between hell and heaven. So, and that's where he, poor thing, has been as a, you know, struggling artist and enormously, you know, in our understanding, unhappy person, but who could be as enlightened and happy and as divine as he was? No one. Okay, so go. Okay, see, again, as affirmation to what I just said. So he's throwing himself from lower to the lowest to the highest, and that's where he is, sort of. Now, if we imagine again orchestrations and this lower string starting, and then very individualized, because they came to the concert, they came to the rehearsals, they all practiced really hard, and they feel how important this texture is, because it's not just a texture, it's active participation, because of course you're not. Yes, but it's not as important as this driving force. As you go up, it becomes more and more difficult to break through. So you can help with, you know, with a pedal a little bit, but, you know, very, very frequent changes. Try from here. And pam 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 ti. Okay. Abel tells us, and he puts it in fine print, non slentare, meaning don't just relax right there, because he's here still so you reach that star, and then and after that, this is like little recitativo cadenza type. By the way, pedal Beethoven for the full bar. Full bar. Beethoven. Release. So for these 3 bars, it's for the full bar, it's Beethoven's pedaling. So he gives us this resonance of this harmony. So you understand that, right? Now, when you were playing here, listen to the silence in this rest. You want to get back to the keyboard because you feel insecure in silence. Don't feel insecure. Sometimes silence is louder than sound, and more meaningful, and more dramatic, you know? Because what we learn, and that comes also from, playing on stage, it's more difficult to develop and understand in this kind of setting, because you obviously need acoustical, you need to space to hear your sound moving in space. But that's what we learn all our lives, is how to read the score. Whether it's you as a student, me as a teacher, or anybody else on the stage, we read how to better read the score, right? So, with that in mind, how to better read the score, we proceed, and we need to get to the core of the meaning, and we did all the skills that we get, sound, articulation, this and that, how to produce a sound, because music is obviously art of sound. But we learn in the end how to produce a sound, and then the rest of our lives is how to distribute and organize this sound in this space, and the main space is silence. So how to hear, how to stage it in the environment that we find for that. So, and we need to see, we need to hear the air, the silence in between, right? And this silence sometimes can be so that, it's just ringing in your ears. So that's what it is. It's not a relaxation sound. And you did that, and the intensity in this piano, in this silence, even more than, because this rest gives us fortissimo. So, and then forgot. So, okay, try from there. Or if you turn the page, or whatever is more convenient. No, count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Ta-da-ta-da! So 1, 2, 3, and feel this 1, 2, 3, 4, and then tati. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dum. First one second one was not good. Because you feel still insecure. Don't be insecure. You were talking about your feelings. Listen to your feelings. Be silent with yourself. Listen to yourself. And then go into this. Okay? Again, one more time. Now, Schnabel has wonderful fingering for here. It's all one. So it's all starts, and that helps with sforzando. And the left hand is fingering of Beethoven. Left hand is fingering of Beethoven. Okay? So, I mean, I can sit on it for the rest of my life, but we need to wrap it up before we do so, because there is another piece also, you know, this, now we'll have this lovely boulanger pieces, but after that there is another piece, also the last opus, piano opus of Rachmaninoff, which is coming up, and also which is very dear to my heart, and we need some time for that. But before we part, so you basically got the idea, right? So what I'm so trying to share with you. But although this piece is full of 16 notes, that doesn't mean that they should be easily rolling. No, they move one into each other with great deal of difficulty. They're just not just pearls. So don't be tempted. One important thing here in the end, Beethoven used to have this sort of flashbacks into his older pieces. So did Rachmaninoff, by the way. And also sometimes predictions of the following. For example, in Hammerklavier, he has prediction of Arietta theme. Whereas here, and I will play it for you, and you tell me flashback to what this is. Any recollection?
I'm not sure, I'm sorry.
So what is this? Do we know?
I don't remember the opus. I'm sorry, I don't remember the opus number, which sonata that is. I'm sorry.
It is finale of opus 27, number 2.
Okay.
And don't tell me that it is number 14 or Moonlight, because that is not what Beethoven wrote. He wrote 27, number 2. Okay? Opus 27, number 2. Or at least that's how he submitted it to the publisher. Whenever he wrote it, that's a different story. But so that's what. So that's all I just wanted. Every time I play it, I get back to it, I practice it, and I get to this point in concert. It sort of, breaks my heart this moment. And please do not make any ritardando here. listen to it. Minor, major, and clean, absolutely clean C major. Silence. Don't take your hands down. And then there is this white light that goes through this movement. Thank you very much, my dear. I hope I didn't confuse you much and didn't do much damage.
No, it was
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, but it's when I get on with these pieces that I just simply cannot part with them. You don't know how it takes me great effort to cut it off now. So, but I wish you all the very best. Okay, so we need to move on. Thank you very much, Angelina.
Yes, now we have Jinxa Lewis gonna play the trois morceaux, the 3 pieces of Lily Boulanger. Jinxa, I will let you introduce the 3 pieces and their titles.
Yes. Hello, Professor. Hello, everyone.
Hello, dear.
Hi. Nice to see you here. So I'll play 3 pieces by Lily Boulanger. The first one is the Old Garden. Is translated by French, and the second one is
How does it sound in French? Tell me.
I think it's D'un Jardin.
Say it again.
D'un Jardin.
Yeah.
The Jardin.
Yeah.
So if you try to pronounce it in the language, so you will, that transmits into French music. That's why the way they pronounce. Okay. So the next one. So you play all 3.
Yes, I play all 3, and the next one is the Bright Garden. Is the D'un Jardin Claire, and then
Claire, because Claire de Lune, remember?
Right.
Right. So Claire.
Yes. And then the third one is Cortege. It's translated like a funeral procession.
Well, not necessarily funeral, but cortege is it's his procession. Yes. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Let's mute ourselves and just hear to Jinxi. Listen. lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So it sounds like a lovely vignette, like, you know, jardinière in the windows of houses in France, or, you know,
Yes.
but however, you know, so it was written at Villa Medici, right? And Villa Medici is where?
I'm not sure.
In Rome.
Oh,
Okay, Villa Medici is in Rome, but also it has beautiful gardens at this Villa Medici, and it is quite quite picturesque. So it comes from that culture of a lot of visual and appreciation of beauty. That's what it is. Appreciation of beauty, elegance, and its depiction. I cannot, or, you know, I'm taking the liberty that obviously, you know, between these two pieces that we are exploring, or again attempting to communicate with today, such as 111 and Corelli, this would be at the same level of depth and scope. But it carries that charm and that fragrant beauty that you obviously can appreciate and express maybe even more through. It sounds lovely, but whatever you are doing, it sounds very natural and expressive. So her remark here is expressive.
right.
Even if she did not write it here, right? How could we not play it expressively? So start one more time for me, this beginning, this
Okay.
very beginning, the first piece, yeah? Dans le jardin, okay? Okay, now see how many harmonies we hear. Right? And then, and all of a sudden, clean F major.
Yes.
So through all this sort of, if you imagine, I don't know what kind of garden do you see here? What kind of?
Very peaceful and full of flowers and very light and quiet.
What kind of flowers would you plant in this garden, or would you want to see?
Like very small and pink or red small roses.
Like what?
Like roses.
Like roses, like small roses. Yeah. So if because I wanted to sort of say roses, it could be roses, and why I would think of roses, maybe not necessarily the big ones, but as beautiful as they are, they have their own bend and line, and they have little thorns. And then clean, absolutely clean. Also, as we were talking previously in Beethoven, but it was with regard Beethoven of Beethoven, any recollection you might have with any piece here?
Some impressionism.
Well, I don't know. I'm not talking about the impressionism, of course. Yeah, it's written at the time when, you know, it was all sorts of experimentation, and you hear influences of Scriabin and impressionists and aesthetics. It's all there, you know. It's all there, and it's very visual indeed. But intonation. I'm deliberately
The romanza from the Fashion Schwank.
Yes. And Schumann's influence on French music was absolutely, no, one of the strongest. Fauré was just drenched and just came from Schumann. The entire Fauré. And even so, she just, transposed half step. So, right? And if you already have that recollection, your expressivity here would be different than just beautiful. Look at it. So it's and maybe hold on to this first note more, like bending a rose. See, I do not have roses, but I have orchid here, if you can see.
Yes.
So the way it's bending and then gives you this phrase. And also it's written in several layers, right? And so and then right?
Yes.
So you may want to follow those voices as well. Sometimes you are losing them, and these are all important threads in the texture. So, and the last but not the least, the most important throughout all three pieces. I don't think that if we can go through all three of them, but pedaling, my dear.
Okay.
Pedaling. French music doesn't mean that it's all wet and should be, in a puddle. No. And then clean harmonies, and then maybe you are changing it because I'm not seeing your foot. Otherwise, I would just get and grab it, But what I am hearing, that pedal is not clean. Maybe you are changing, but not lifting your foot completely off.
I see.
So, and therefore it piles up and creates the cluster of different harmonies, and then we end up in Dirty Garden. Do we want to be in Dirty Garden? We would run away, right? Although I walked on Villa Medici on a rainy day, and it's beautiful anyway. So,
right.
Go. Could you please tell me, just describe to me, how are you changing pedal there? When? Just play and tell me, change, so I can understand your intentions. Because what I'm hearing is just one pedal through the bar.
Oh.
And I'm sure you are not doing it. I'm sure you are not. But that's how it's coming through. Go.
Okay. So, here, pedal.
No, don't tell me here pedal. Just tell me, change. It's
Yeah, change here. Change. Change here.
Well, then my guess was correct. You are not changing it on every quarter. So because better to change it on every quarter and then but it should not be like abrupt pedaling. That pedal also should be legato, but being changed on each harmony, because otherwise harmonies do not come. So all her beautiful writing would be in vain if we do not hear. And plus you have these held notes. notes. Again, bright stroke here, and then. So all these harmonies, you are not changing your pedal so that we see and hear them well.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
we want to see all the beautiful plants that are there. Okay?
Okay.
Please do it. Okay, where is my clean C major? Sorry. It's like a sunny day. Sun comes and all clouds are gone. And here you give me cloudy day. Do you hear it? Not nice.
Yes.
So, and with your expressivity and your organic sense of the phrasing, if you take care of pedaling, it will sound much more fresh.
Okay.
Otherwise, your flowers are fading.
I see.
Much better already. But now you have phrasing. Now pedal sort of understood, right? So I will not be
Yes.
following everything and so on. Now phrasing, articulation. How is written here? And then and then sorry, and then so you are extending slur to the next note because you are playing a continuing, and this is new. And then C sharp starts next phrase. You are playing C sharp as ending of the previous, which is part of the harmony, but it is beginning of the next phrase. Sorry. Same. So watch these phrases, how you say them, how you convey them, because it's part of your speech. You know how where you put your punctuation signs.
Okay.
Okay, try. Okay, can you arrive into this? It's such a gourmet spot, you know. Yeah, speaking of, so all the fragrances, all the tastes, all these delicacies of nature and aromas are kicking in. So coaxing the key.
Okay.
Go. Do not forget about pedal. Do not forget about, yeah. As you are caressing the keys with your, fingers, you must caressing the pedal with your toes, like this. Same thing, And also rests. So do di di do di di and the
Okay.
with taking breath here, real, as if smelling those flowers,
Yeah. Okay.
Go to Rest. Oh, pedal. We need to. It cannot be. Sorry. And then it's pure G chord, so it cannot be overwhelmed by anything else, previous or what comes next. Go. And it is triste. It is triste. What is triste?
I forgot. Sorry.
Have you ever looked it up? Honestly, look into my eyes.
Yes.
Okay. So then why would you forget? It's a very important word. Triste. Sad. It's sad. It's just, it's sadness, that bittersweet sadness that can happen. Here. Intense, yes, but not louder.
Okay.
And pianissimo can be much more intense than fortissimo, by the way. Okay, so you hear this, a lot of these chromatic descending things, and
Yeah.
especially in bass and these harmonies that they change in between, and then in the end, so. So from. You should be very careful with pedal and with the touch and everything. That it is one of those things that is not as easy to teach remotely, because you know it really matters acoustically what is happening right where you are. And the way it's transmitted, you know, all colors might, sometimes it is exaggerated, sometimes it helps you, sometimes it doesn't. So, but you got the idea, right?
Yes.
I'm afraid we need to move to D minor now and to Corelli. But remember that the colors and this, and at the same time, clarity in French music and simplicity.
Okay.
No matter how elaborate and how, you know, it's ornamented it may look to you, and fragrant, still it's fresh. All right?
Thank you so much.
Okay, you are very welcome.
Thanks, Jinta. And now we move on to Anthony Bonamici, who will be performing Sergei Rachmaninoff's Corelli Variations, Opus 42. And we're also celebrating the great Sergei Rachmaninoff because he turned 148 yesterday. So happy.
Hi, Tony. No, today. And I'll tell you why.
Tell us
Yes.
why.
Okay, here is why. Tony, as you get, you know, and good to see you. So, as you, maybe you know why, because you spent in Russia, I think, you know, more time than I did, but I found that out here. So, have you been to Kensico Cemetery?
No,
Ever?
I haven't.
So it's not so far from you, by the way, right? So where you are also, and I mean, it's closer to New York, but you now, so, and that's been you know, when I arrived to this city, to this country, in 1991, okay? My first, there were two places that I visited first after Metropolitan Museum and Opera. Well, first was opera, then museum. Then it was Steinway and Rachmaninoff's grave. So, and when all my life up to that point, I knew that Rachmaninoff was born on April 1st. I arrived to the grave, I see the cross, it says April 2nd. April 2nd, on the grave. And so I started, and by the time having visited Steinway, I have already been invited to play a recital at Steinway Hall. And at Steinway Hall, you know, I told them, well, why would you want to have someone, you know, another Soviet pianist coming in and playing a recital? Big deal. Let's do something. I said, why don't we celebrate Rachmaninoff on April 1st? So, and luckily it was open. We scheduled April 1st. And then I go and I see April 2nd. So when I come back, I go back to, you know, Steinway. I said, listen, guys, he was a Steinway artist, so you better know when his birthday was, because, so again, luckily April 2nd was also open. We moved. So the tombstone and that cross and everything was placed by his family. They certainly did know when he was born, right? So, therefore, from that point on, I, again, stubbornly celebrate Rachmaninoff's birthday ever since 1991 on April 2nd. Now, what happened in reality? So, he was born on March 20th, right? Old calendar, new calendar. The difference is 13 days. But, so, the difference between the previous century, I mean 19th century, then 20th, when the calendar changed, was 12. So astronomically, yes, it is April 1st. Astronomically, and yes, he was physically born on April 1st, if we count. But he did not recognize it. He recognized himself April 2nd. I don't know whether because he didn't want to be born on an April's Fool's Day or anything, for whatever reason. I do not know. But his recognition of the birthday was April 2nd. And then in 1993, this series of my Rachmaninoff birthdays, Steinway Hall at 57th, it became sort of annual. And in 93, we were doing 120th celebration with exhibition and Henry Steinway kindly gave us access to and we put everything in the window, all the documents that we could find, and there was a card written by his daughters, invitations to guests, invitation for April 2nd. For April, everywhere it was April 2nd. So that's why April 2nd, by recognition, and since he is the composer and he composed his own birthday, for me his birthday is as it's written on the cross. And also I wanted to share with you, I just prepared this, you may have seen this, but these photos I got from Steinway. This is on his birthday, when he's cutting his birthday cake. And here is Wanda Toscanini.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So, and here is again him on his birthday with his wife Natalia, and these I don't know who these are. And here is another one in when he is he's older. With just him with his wife. I love his older portraits.
Yes.
These I have in the album, but if you see on my walls, I have two of his, so both guys who we are working on, Ludwig and Sergei, I have them here on my walls, right in front of me. I do not have Lily, pardon. Okay, so let's get to the birthday, and so, as per calendar, the physical birthday, yes, is April 1st. That's why it is entered in all encyclopedias and everything. But again, if you go to Kensico, it's a place, it's a very peaceful and beautiful place. And
I'll take a trip.
Yeah, and of course there is a bush of lilacs. Yeah, and so go and see it when you can. Mm-hmm. All right, with this in mind, so let's wish him happy birthday in D minor.
We'll do our yes, right. Would you like me to? How much of this would you like me to play? Should I just wait for you to stop me, or?
Well, I see. Let's do this. I have time until 3, so which is 45 minutes. This piece, as I know, is. You have played it, so this is not in the. It's always in the making, but it's already, right. Past the first entry.
Yes.
So therefore, I would be very curious to hear it.
Okay.
They're complete, and then based on that, I will have a better picture of what to tell you and what. So probably I will not be getting into as much details as I did with Beethoven. But maybe I will make sense of a couple of spots here and there. So let's see. But play through, please.
Okay, great. If you change your mind, just wave, and I'll see you. There you go. Okay. Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you. I clapped too soon. The silence should stay longer. But listen, so we are in a position like it always happens to me, be it in lessons or master classes, and I always run over time. If I really want to, I mean, despite how well you play or I teach, never mind, so or we can spend time on this piece until his birthday next year, you know. So therefore we probably will not be able to cover everything, and obviously it will not be a and we will not be able to cover everything even if we spend till next birthday. But see, there are a few points that I would like to bring to your attention, and that might maybe give you some hints to maybe refresh your views or you know. And again, we're playing. Again, this is last opus, last piano opus, right?
Right.
Of Rachmaninoff. What was his last piano piece?
The Paganini variation that come after this. You mean, well, this piece is the last solo.
Last solo piano piece.
And then the Paganini variations, right? And then
Paganini is not a solo piece.
no.
Right?
Did he revise the second sonata? Is that the no? I don't know what the very last piece is.
So that's why I'm asking. I knew that you would be. So it's Tchaikovsky Lullaby.
Oh, right.
So that's what it is. So that's what it is. And in that Tchaikovsky's Lullaby, he was sort of parting. It's all very symbolic, you know. D minor in his last piece, you know, given all these D minors that, you know, preceding this one, D minor through his life all the way through as key of death, coming from Mozart, inheriting, you know, that's going on with that. Yeah. And and Tchaikovsky was the one who gave him blessings, right?
Right.
Into his life. And he's parting with this lullaby. To me, it's sort of very meaningful closure of circle, as if he knew. My very strong guess is they do know when their time comes. And they give us certain signs. Or maybe now, having known their biography, we try to make it up and justify. But I doubt it, I tell you. Yes, so, and again, he's getting back to, let's, as much as we allow him, he was not a master of form.
Right.
Yeah, he was, I mean, so we dealt with Beethoven in the same master class. I mean, and nobody could go near Beethoven, of course, in that area as well as in many others and everything. But but variations, he did love variations, right? So we have Chopin, variations spread all over the place, endless.
Yes.
So this is, you know, later opus. They're more compact, and to me, the best form of variations, not only for Rachmaninoff, but as variation cycle, is Paganini. That's where he, to me, accomplished what maybe even other composers could not, except Beethoven, again, you know, going to. And, but, so you need to group them.
Yeah.
Somehow. I do not have a clear understanding of where is your grouping. As a listener, I should not have a clear understanding of your grouping. As someone who is into the same business, right? I should have a clear understanding. And so how it's constructed. Because if I would feel it, how you build the whole thing. Yeah, there are certain thresholds put by the composer, but aside from that, you need to sort of put them together. For me, there are sometimes overdone stretches in time, in phrasing. Sometimes maybe tempos a little bit too large.
Okay.
To compare, and too spacious in faster stuff. I think they're more compact. And again, if you listen to his own recording, his own playing, it's pretty ascetic, right? And it's pretty, it's compact in time, and it's not even a tempo, but the way he organizes it, right? So to me, one of the reasons why composers, most of the time, so when we hear composers play their pieces, you know, of those few recordings that we have, and now later on of living composers, they tend to play their pieces faster than performers. Have you noticed that?
Well, I haven't listened to many composers that perform, but Rachmaninoff, yes, I always have noticed that he plays his pieces very fast.
Yeah.
Faster than most people play.
Faster than any human living creature, you know. And it's not because that he really can do it. It's not only that would not be the reason. But I've been thinking about this for a long time, and then when I shared it with my good friends, also composer, pianists, they sort of affirmed that my guess was close to reality and to intentions. So what happens when they write this composition? They create it. Once it is written, completed, it's done. For them, it is done. When they perform it, they illustrate it. They do not live through it as we do while performing it every single moment. And therefore, we need a split of a second more than them to hear this sort of, even this simple thing. For example, I'm exaggerating now, deliberately, because there is something into this, to this bend, right? Whereas he would play that mi do, that for him it has already happened. For us, it's happening every single moment. You know, that's why I think just think about it. Just take each variation a little bit from a bird's eye view. You are too much into details, which you should be. But at the same time, like painter, go close to the canvas, then part. Just get away from it and see bigger picture, then comes closer. And then assemble them together. Okay? So, now we did say about, you know, yes, D minor, clear, Désiré, of course, should be there. How could it not be? And of course, there are some also flashbacks into his own compositions. Now, do you hear any other influences than this theme of Corelli?
Oh, sorry. Besides his own compositions, it's funny, I hear some of the Paganini variations, although they haven't been written yet.
Yeah, but yeah. You know, it's his vocabulary. It was coming.
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm. To me, it just sounds so much like Rachmaninoff. I hadn't really thought of.
For example, this thing. Just structure of it, right? If you do not cry over every note, right? different.
Right.
So then
But you know, it's funny, I just played those C minor variations.
what
I said I just played those C minor variations last year. I didn't even, yeah. Right.
And also, you do not need to be a rocket scientist to hear this. So,
Beethoven.
again, all over the place. All over the place. So, unfortunately, there is no recording of his playing 111. They said that it was just one of the most sensational ever. But so just as a references, you know, it's interesting how things and themes are, and words and vocabulary and certain phrases are reflected and take completely different corners. So and here it's so pure. You know, like Ave Maria. Right? Very clean. I did not see, because I could not. How are you playing this F in the middle?
The second time? Or both times?
Both times.
With the left thumb.
Now, why do you think he wrote it in both hands? F. He could have omitted it, right?
Yes.
Why did
well, the second time definitely because it has the line going up from it, which I tried to bring out.
Okay, I'm asking about first time.
Oh, the first time. He probably maybe he wanted more of it, but to, you know, keep the 4-part harmony.
Exactly.
Choral harmony.
Because any sound without melodic line. Very plagal, like Russian, you know, this znamenny raspev, you know? So
yes, very choral.
So this sort of harmony is going in mostly in subdominance, you know, moving in plagal mode. So I would suggest that for consistency of voicing, you play it with both hands. And so you will feel this 4-voiced choral texture better, and it will center you better on here. Because if you play it only with the left hand, this sounds like melody in Chopin nocturnes, which it is not here. It's like it's not bel canto la la. It's not like that. So and then it's very pure voice, maybe not even of human nature, but very pure voice that you are hearing. And given his religious, you know, him being very deeply religious and believing in all sorts of powers. So I think it's important to play, because when he wants, he gives us enough of, you know, melodic. So I don't remember. So of that melodic, you know, substance. Here it would be. He says cantabile, but it's different type of cantabile. It's like a voice in church. You know, like Yesenin, девушка пела в церковном хоре. That's девушка пела в церковном. So
That's block.
Да, извини, блок, да, почему имя Есенин? Yeah, sorry. Go. Okay. Church choir does not make ritenutos.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's all in intonation. And also when you pray, Ave Maria, gratia plena et benedictum, you would Ave Maria, right? So it's that type of cantabile, I think. I might be wrong, but I don't know. Like in one of those, what's his name? The great comic.
Victor Borge?
No, not Victor Borge. The comedy. How can Anne Bancroft's husband and great, actor and so he had the world history. And all sorts of high anxiety and those movies. It's very funny. How it's just slipping my memory, but I know it, the name better than my own, but it's just gone at this moment. But in that movie, High Anxiety, it's a parody on Hitchcock. So, and the driver is just saying something, like hypothetically, and then, first he's insisting, and then he's saying, maybe I'm wrong, and then slowly, but I know I'm right. So I know I'm right.
No, it's Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks, yeah. Mel Brooks, exactly. Yes, thank you, Angelina. How could I? Yeah, so I know I'm right about so. And purity, and just keep your candle straight. This is just carrying your candle in this. And then, if you carry a candle, and then, senza ritenuto, and then. And from the darkness, I think in these variations, you get too real, too soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's very much. It's from the same ghostly shadows.
Mm-hmm.
So. And then syncopated tiptoeing, ghosts tiptoeing.
Mm.
So, and to me, these are, in your rendition, it sounded a little bit like real, too real. I don't think that there is anything real in these variations. Anything.
In the whole thing.
For the whole thing. For the whole thing. Maybe he appears as a composer himself, at some point. Maybe when in these variations, like more fleshy, but also distant. And there is he. That's him in the end.
Uh-huh.
That's him in the end. And to me, so I would think about distribution of your smaller groups between this and then this D flat major and then epilogue. That epilogue, it's just curtain falls, and the last page is after that. You know, after it's postlude.
Yes.
Now, and in between there are all these ghosts. And then more ornamental. There is a lot of Eastern ornamental things happening. Again, influences on Russian culture, of his own DNA coming through, you know, all of that. And if you emphasize more of, not even emphasize, hear them better. They do not need to be emphasized. It's all there. Sometimes I think you are more taken by the beauty of this, the music itself, its harmonies, its changes, its challenges, technical challenges, because sometimes I wanted to just, okay, go, and you are pulling back. Yes, especially, I mean, it's hell, I've been through that, especially last group of variations. Okay, so know that. And I'm singing in our audience, I'm seeing one of them also has been a victim of mine while working on Corelli variations. So I would not let
Baron? Baron? Yeah, we're good friends.
Yeah. So and that was so once I get on this, I simply cannot part, no matter who is sitting, you know, at the other piano. But so this would be one, let's say, small ghostly group here. This one, and then I want to hear more of a left hand. I think you are too much difficult, yes. But believe me, if you listen to this and switch your attention to this, all this don't remember anymore. I haven't played it for quite some time. And these are little, you know, intonations of cry, but not pronounced. Just sighing through, and this is just keeping time. And then this tempo diminuito. So this. So that's, you know, there is this word in Russian, уханье. You just,
yes.
You know, so this, what am I playing? And in between is this уханье.
So it's a Russian minuet. So it's a Russian minuet.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So,
yes.
Well, Russian minuet, yes, but he says tempo di minueto, right?
Yeah.
So exactly, it's even better. It's Russian ghosts minuet. So if you think of Russian ghosts minuet, you may think of Gogol and Bulgakov also. Yeah. Right. So Now here we start hearing it. More of the actually voice. And he writes tenutos and I would be more lush on the tone as opposed to purity of this, and harmonic change is so that allows us also to get a little more juicy here with the sound, where this and right again. So this parallel with Paganini, and this drones very far away. Almost imagine is high, written higher. If you imagine is more distant, your layering of sound, I think, will be better. I think they're too close. And then depth and distance changes even more. See? Again. So, contrast of timbres, darkness and light. That's what it is about. It's also very theatrical, and also, as we were, by the way, talking in the first movement of Beethoven today, also range of colors from darkness, like if you imagine Rembrandt for the very darkest brown to his shiny gold tones with all this spectrum of these colors. It just goes through all of that, and this variation would be like a threshold, not quite threshold, but like let's say, just I do not like this sort of association, but here it would be like to clear the palate, ginger between. So and then again go into the energy. Then this 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7. They go through, and then fermata stops you. So, and so what is different here? This again, timbres, characters, and the so I would like to hear this as tutti, and this is trumpet, and there's a and just bite in the chords. Your chords are a little bit good chords, but they do not have character. Bite, like the yeah. And again, harmonies. And here comes the Azira, in modification, and all sorts of things. And that I don't remember it at all. actually, but less pedal and also with more bite to your fingertips. And see it. And listen to the lower voice. So that also. Etc. Okay, and then this sort of this with very sharp teeth, you know, bites, all of a sudden throws you into this vibration. And it just covers everything. So what is happening before? It's all anxiety. And then this anxiety drowns into this ocean, and after that back into ghostly. But it's different than those ghosts in minuetto, in tempo di minuetto, because this tempo makes sure that they do not sound the same. To me, these are more creepy and more scary than those in tempo di minuetto, because of this. They have more faithful. And then, to me, it's pizzicato double bass, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhat jazzy.
Yeah.
So. If we go that way, but it's from different cultures, so. Although the other one would fit here too. And after this ghostly, even to me here I have a very, very clear picture here in certain things of Rachmaninoff to me, and I cannot just get rid of them. Take it or leave it. But here, and this extended, you know, and then and this size This is, you know, to me here it's very clear. It's Gogol's short story. It is called, how would you translate it in English? Straszne mist. Just straszne.
Horrible revenge or
yes,
something.
yes, probably that's stuff. So,
Frightful revenge.
Yeah, and there is there is a scene, just to make sure that short story even shorter. There is just one scene where the peasant goes from village to every day to sell something in the market in a larger visit, comes back home, and his way goes by the cemetery. And every time when he passes the cemetery and his way is back after midnight, so when he passes this cemetery, he sees those ghosts coming out of the graves and saying, I can't breathe. Duszno mnie. Duszno mnie. You know?
That's scary.
And it is so, all Russian culture is based on Gogol. Everything.
Yeah.
And this dušno mnie, so and there is no way to escape because they are dragged back. They be it brave or swamp or the and then they go and then they do not come out. And they do not come out. Little devils appear, and they start playing here. Hello. So that's where we are, right? So but it's this, but in the texture of scherzo, right?
Right.
So this continues from, let's say, Adagio Misterioso, because I would do a big fermata as he asked in fortissimo before this Adagio Misterioso. Then this Adagio Misterioso goes through the 9 and 10 scherzando and flies into this, because this here where fate appears. So we had graveyard, we had devils, now we have fate. So you need to create for yourself certain plot, to bring things together. You may come up with something else, I don't know, but to me I don't remember. Again, doesn't matter. And very careful with pedal. Do not over pedal. Because from this point on, we are going on to more of the characters of, let's say, final scenes of Bulgako's, Volant and his company departing in Master and Margarita, right? So, and they are all flying up on their horses there, because that's what it is. Again, where is Bulgakov coming from? Of course, from Gogol. Mm-hmm. It all connects here. Mm. So if you think in that direction, I'm sure that all your pianistic challenges, will remain, but you will be able to overcome them.
They'll still remain, but yeah.
So, I tell you, you need to play this piece many times, very many. I haven't played it as many, to get it completely under my skin. That's why I'm having little, thorns here and there, just bringing. I didn't practice for the master class. I haven't practiced for a while myself. But I tell you, what is happening here. So you will find the key through more of, artistic images. But when you play it through, it takes many playing, because at some point you arrive playing, although not so long piece, this is, but you think, Mama, I cannot do it anymore.
Yes. Yeah.
You get to that point, and you need, despite of that, you have to train yourself and run this marathon, which is not a marathon. It's more of a sprinters in terms of length. Mm-hmm. But just all the marathon elements are in there. So that's why it is so difficult. It's very dense. In a very short time, you do not have enough of distance to be, and yet, so he's just throwing at you, especially toward the end. So in Paganini, you at least have, the orchestra, with you. So it's like an army, and here you're alone by yourself going through. Yeah. So, and after this fateful thing, and this continues up to through the 13th. Up through the, so from Misterioso, from, what did I say? Yeah, from Adagio Misterioso, from 8 through the 13th is practically one chunk that you can build through. So without stopping much in between them, and then. So after the Dushno mnie thing, here we have like Rachmaninov modification of Baba Yaga over. Etc. And then again, this. Do not pedal through the rest, please. So you're pedaling through. Don't be afraid. It will be, first of all, it will be clear without pedal. Plus, not without, but without pedaling the rest. Plus, it will be also clearer in a sense that if you sort of hit something not practically wrong note, you will clean brush them off easier than if they were, just building up on top of each other. So, and then as if, he could easily finish the cycle here, by the way. With such a, huge finale, and then like Chopin B flat minor, and again remembering since you see you speak Russian and all this Russian association come, it makes easier to sort of get things to you like in Pasternak's, всем 19 столетием упасть на старый тротуар. That's what it is. It's Pasternak's poem on Chopin.
Okay.
Опять Шопен не ищет выгод и, окрыляясь на лету, один прокладывает выход из вероятия в правоту. And then, in the end, there is опять, и посвятив соцветием рояля гулкий ритуал, всем 19 столетием упасть на старый тротуар. That's what is happening here. Do you understand, right?
Well, I understand the word всем 19 столетием упасть на старый тротуар.
Trottoir, just on
but,
the street.
So the entire 19th century falling on an old sidewalk.
Yeah. Why? It is because it's he's hearing, he's walking in the streets and he's hearing this coming from the windows, and that was the inspiration, and that's about this sonata, как тяжелы в его сонате, качая маятник громад, часы разъездов и занятий и снов без смерти и фермат. Read this. Chopin.
Okay, I'll read the Pasternak. Is it just called Chopin? What is the name of the poem?
Yeah, well, it just starts. I don't think that it does have a title, but if it's the title, it could be Chopin or опять Chopin не ищет выгод. These are the first.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah, it's called Chopin again is not looking for benefits.
Посмотрела, да, это?
Yeah. I can.
Well, by the way, there is an English translation for it,
Yeah, I'm gonna share it in 1 second.
Yeah. I'm not sure that that's the one that you just said, Chopin, this is not, because Chopin is not looking for benefits, sounds a little awkward.
It does sound.
I think it's a literal translation.
Yeah. He certainly was not looking for health care.
Could I ask you just on the tempo? What do you think of the tempo of this agitato? This to me is the most, I can't understand this it's the hardest one for me to figure out, this agitato.
So if you are going for... Whatever gives you this riding, horse riding, it's like a chase.
Mm.
It's a chasing, but chasing not on motor cars and Ferraris, but on horses. Yum pa bum bim ta dum tim ta dum pum pa bum pum. I think.
Mm. Also the horse rider. A little bit different.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we have this intermezzo where all his Rachmaninov Tatar essence comes in. So here, I never know what to do with the ornaments, because if we are talking Torricorelli, if we are talking Baroque, we might
Right.
think from up.
From above. Right?
I always think what to do and would never probably know. But it depends on a taste and what your inclination are in general and at the very moment when you are playing. Probably the first one should be on re, because right? But
Right.
here I would, it's curlier.
I was wondering how much freedom I had here to do this. I was wondering how much freedom I have to do things like that here.
Well, as much as your taste allows.
Okay.
It's a tempo rubato, intermezzo.
Mhm.
It's just in between. He's just, and especially. So this is just. Also, it's very rhapsodic. It's like a rhapsode, or just striking these, his harps, or Orpheus striking his lyre and singing hymns. But what is very important is appreciation of this half tone. How so with all this, Rimsky-Korsakov
Yes.
comes to visit, or Rachmaninoff goes to pay homage to Rimsky-Korsakov. All this, Shimachanskaya Tsaritsa, and this Sultan,
Mhm.
and all these golden cockerel things.
Right.
So this is with Shimachanskaya Tsaritsa comes with this fairy,
Right.
magician, or genie. Genie is just let out of the jar and appear and playing. I mean, you name it. But let yourself embark on this. So, and that will give you different colors, because right now all I'm hearing as you were playing, that you were playing Rachmaninoff's Corelli variations, knowing that it is a very difficult piece. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Everybody who has played it and those who have not. But if you bring them like folk tales, legends, retold by you with certain intonation, hearing all those ghosts, right, that are here. Some are seriously experienced by Rachmaninoff. Some have some ironic facet coming from Russian literature, and yet creepy, you know. No, not really. So if you think about it, it will, first of all, your practicing of this piece will be much more exciting and engaging for yourself. And then you will be looking for colors more than drilling into the passages. Because, I mean, with all your, I'm sure, you know, wish not to go there, but it's obvious. Yeah, so you need, but you should always find through artistic way how to go. Now about it. Now, and here we arrive into this major, and I'm afraid that I will have to, oh yes, because I need to make a phone call, very important one. Now, but I would like to embark on this. So, you in this intermezzo, you need to be as free as, you know, and feel something that would allow you to completely relax into these harmonies. And then so metamorphosis of the first theme. Would you ever imagine that this pure девочка церковного хора would become such a grande dame? Metamorphosis of Tatiana, if Eugene Onegin.
Yes.
You know, the кто там в малиновом берете? It's that kind of complete sort of let go moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and rich and very tasty, you know, in every way. So you need to, I think, you may want to, and D flat major, of course, D flat major. You know, so there are many examples of lush D flat major, right? So so since I slightly sort of touched on the Bulgakov and horses and, you know, flying with, because that's what's practically happening in the end.
Right.
And because here, probably this would be, these are just all different characters, which are Voland and Margarita and all his, you know, this how is a crowd of his. But I cannot finish this without talking about the last page.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Yes, please.
And then, and this is the moment, for example, from variation, I tell you, honestly, very honestly, so this variation 19, that's when, you know, this is okay. Again, very light. You are playing over the all very smoky, not cloud, smoky.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's all full of witches. You know, the whole thing. It's almost like Walpurgin Nacht. You know.
Mm.
Yeah. In the end, and from that, so these 19 and 20 variations are where you really don't want to live anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, and you exhaust yourself completely. So, as you so here you are hit with the bullet, and then die there. Okay.
Okay.
So you were deliberately. So there is a drama. It's not even mchat. It's malny theater, which with all this, this with elements of all Greek tragedy and theatricality. But it's very sincere. There is nothing. So there is no theatricality in a sense of making it pompous, but there is a theatricality in the sense of really feeling the drama. If you don't feel it, it will not work otherwise. So, or it will sound like refrigerated Corelli, which would not be quite what it is. Now, and then, so all this, changes of this. Listen to this. And this goes down into this D, right? So D. Now, when you look at this, the first dynamics, here's mezzo forte. It's not piano. You are making diminuendo. You are making random diminuendo from here and also making ritenuto. And then, so you restart something. It is not a restart.
Mm-hmm.
It happens, it comes out of the previous. So all the yam bam 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 bam. This is like, the rider is down and the horse continues running, galloping, yam bam bam, and the knight is already down, and the yam. Even this mezzo forte, it's out in this space. And that's where these harmonies are getting deflated a little bit. So again, another, in addition to that image of Gogol that I told you about, that literary associations. Here I have association of my own. I am seeing Rachmaninoff here standing down, and I am telling that everybody, Baron has heard it too. So, standing down at the tip of Manhattan in Battery Park City, in his coat, and I'm on West End Avenue, he's on, so I imagine him walking all the way down West End Avenue, passing. So, go down to the tip, in his gray coat and gray, hat, alone, and standing and looking in direction of Russia. And there is nothing but him ocean and Russia over there that he doesn't see. No liberty is disregarded. You know? Yeah. So it's beyond anything. It's beyond Staten Island. It's beyond all islands there around. It's just him over looking to. It's not even, yes, nostalgia, of course. We all do have nostalgia, but it's nostalgia for culture. It's not nostalgia for. It's just a inability to ever go back. That's what was so nostalgic. It's not about me sitting here missing home. You know, I'll take a flight and go back. So it's no. That I miss home. Nostalgia is something that you had in the past and may never happen again. And you know that your life will end and it will never happen. And yes, you have the end of your life. It's his last opus in D minor, and he's standing there, and the distance of the to me, this mezzo forte is not enough. Absolutely timeless. But this tam bam in tempo. Don't play, no, not in tempo, but in proportion of triplet 8, because you played two quarters.
Yes.
So because what is this? The tam bam. It's tam. It's pop. It's giving in, giving up. Ba bam. You know that's what it is. It's not bam bam finishing. It's just. So what? Last. Tombstone, which says April 2nd. Happy birthday, Sergei Vasilyevich. Thank you very much. I have to jump off. I'm sorry. I could go on torturing you, but you are lucky because I really need to get off.
Thank you
so much. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your heart, your incredible artistry, your ability to just embody a character, and the spirit of each of these composers is really a treat to watch. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Very enjoyable, and playing of your students and all participants and their attitude, and so it's the spirit that is most importantly I've heard coming through all three of them. So, and spirit is, we know who, so brava. And we know the spirit comes from where, with that know also, Menes and Georgia. So there we come.
Right.